Hey guys, how we doing? Back in another video from Nux Taku, and interested because I did Gigguk's music in anime the other day, and I said that my favourite thing with music in anime is when the OP plays, because you know something absolutely epic is going to happen. Like, you hear it all the time, you build up, and you have that one moment where you got the fight, and you know it's going down because the bloody OP's playing. And then Nux is done when the OP stops. It's like, oh, this is going to be freaking epic. So, let's get into this.
Cue the audience to collectively orgasm.
Yeah.
Out of all
Isn't it the
amounts of anime cliches
shot
that
of some,
we see pop up
like
again and
Gigguk called
again,
it?
there is one above all others that hits that emotional note every single time. And yes, that is when the main theme of the anime starts playing.
Always amazing.
In the actual anime. I know it sounds so stupid, generic,
but it works.
cliche. It happens everywhere, but it is freaking amazing. Now, I do believe there is one underlying reason as to why this anomaly packs such a powerful punch, feels wise, and spiritual.
Yeah.
So I asked you guys on Twitter to please send me your favorite moments in anime where the theme starts playing and it all got sick, and all of a sudden you start getting hard down there and it was inexplicable. Now, I got hundreds of replies. Very cool. Link to my Twitter in the description, because I want to do more analyses based on your answers. That way I'm not just thinking from my own perspective.
Yeah, but you like
anime,
giving
but
people what
from
they're
all
saying.
yours.
Oh, mate,
Fan-based
JoJo's is a
will
good
reign
one when he fights
supreme.
Scar. Cars, even Scar. Cars.
I was about to
A
say,
DLP from the
subscribe
first
and become
one, not
a
even the
valiant member of
current,
this fan
like,
base. But
series.
after that laugh, I don't think that any newcomers would be interested. But subscribe if you're also a freaking weirdo. We welcome not freaking weirdos, but you'll only be a not weirdo for so long. If you
Until, you keep watching your stuff, you're going to be
changes
one of us.
But in any case, after getting your several hundred replies and compiling my favorites, there are a hell of a lot, and I will not be able to cover all of them in this video. Maybe I'll do a part 2 if you enjoy, but interestingly enough, this one core reasoning behind why the theme of an anime playing in the anime packs such an emotional wallop, granted, can explain the phenomenon in an instant, giving you a basic general gist. However, to properly tackle this idea, I'm gonna have to run through a variety of, some of the best scenes in anime because they had the themes in the background.
Yeah.
So that way, when I more or less explain it, or at least how I see it, I actually have footing to base my thesis upon. Because if I were to say, what is the opening of an anime? What is its purpose in our enjoyment of this media that is anime? In a nutshell, I would say that its job is to pump you up for the show.
Yeah, you gotta get hyped.
Something that you can equate
man.
with the show. A song that every time you hear, that show pops in your mind. Where the visuals in the opening are made so when that song plays, it stimulates everything you feel in that opening when you're hyped for the show. Now, being that every single anime is different and touches different themes in the various series that I'm about to bring up, because being that every series has its own important themes, the opening amplifies our perception of what those themes are. So, when that epic, groundbreaking moment happens in the anime, and the opening plays, that's the song that we're linking our emotional investment to
we're
the themes of
hyped.
the show,
We're
and what helps
hyped.
us to continue watching the show on a meta level, because this song is not going on for the characters in the series. It's our personal
us
media getting
to know.
introduced into the other form of media, being the actual series. I'm gonna give a few examples. It's gonna make more sense. Don't worry. And even more than that, the theme playing in the background of the series hits different emotional notes depending on which series and what scene. Now, the first one I would like to talk about is a scene in Black Clover, a shonen anime going on right now, and this scene was Asta versus Veto. This is a fight that took place in the 4th arc of the story, while the 4th theme song of the series was running. Now, the theme that played in the background when Asta finally defeated Veto was the first opening of Black Clover. And the reason is simple. And that's why it was awesome! One of the core themes of Black Clover is that Asta, someone who's born with literally nothing, not nobility, status, and not magical prowess, can become something thing through hard work and friendship and stuff and all that. Beautiful, emotional,
Perseverance.
semi-realistic garbage. But that's not the point. In our mind, the first opening of Black Clover is the start of his journey. It's not what's going on right now.
True.
Right now, the themes that we're tackling aren't the fact that he will struggle to make something of himself. Right now, in the Water Temple arc, the fourth arc of the show, it's a totally different ballgame. The themes are the fact that since Asta's done so much for the Black Bulls, and all the Black Bulls care so much about Asta, they're willing to give their lives to help him in this fight. This 3-on-1 fight with
So
Asta,
good.
Vanessa, and Finral against Veto is one of my favorite fights in anime.
It's so
Yes,
good.
It actually
Power of
is,
friendship.
because Asta
Like,
himself, he can do nothing against this literal beast he's up against. Vanessa uses her string powers to veer his trajectories, and Finral can open these little wormholey thingos so he can keep disappearing and reappearing in different places. Asta completely gives his life to Vanessa.
He just
and
lets them.
Finral,
He
putting it
trusts
in
them
their
completely.
hands, where his job is run at Veto full force to strike
try and
him,
hit him,
while
yeah.
the two of them have to seamlessly work together, ensuring that Asta is not torn to shreds by just a single blow of his opponent. The theme is the insane trust that Asta has in Vanessa and Finral, making them both need to step up to the playing field. Making them both, despite the fact that they are born from the most epic of families, be it the Witch of the
Yeah, they
Forest
are, aren't they?
or Finral's noble house of space magic, both
They-
of them are considered
yeah.
semi-failures. That's why both
Losers.
of them ended up in the Black Bulls Guild, a guild for semi-failures that Yami sees potential in. This fight was not like the normal shonen fights where your average shonen protagonist actually manages to overpower his opponent. No, Asta remains weaker than Veto throughout the entire fight. And
Yeah, but it's
purely
because
due
of
to the
everyone
teamwork
else.
between the three of them that they are eventually able to take him down. The main themes here are trust. So, the fact that they decided to play the first opening of Black Clover in the background, not the current one, the one where the entirety of the Black Bulls Guild, one after the other, shows up to put their life on the line to defeat Veto and rely on the ultimate teamwork, because in the end of the day, the fact that everyone is able to become the person they are, the reason why Luck is working as a team, not just the battle maniac he was before, the reason why Ghosh cares about his guild, not just about his creepy little sister, and the reason why Finral and Vanessa, two scaredy cats, are putting their life on the line, is all because Asta was able to push himself past his social boundaries. Because even though society said he can't, he said he can. That's
He was
the
like, "Screw
ultimate
you."
basis to what this teamwork is all about. And that is how this series began. That is the main core theme of Black Clover that was introduced at episode 1 with this very first theme song. So when this plays in the background, and we're seeing Asta, a guy who was born from no nobility and with no magical power, and that this guy is going up against Veto, one of the 3 strongest members of the Eye of the Midnight
Yeah,
Sun,
man.
a terrorist organization where these 3 generals surpass captain level wizard. That is powerful
Crazy.
shiz. That is the emotional
Powerful
weight
shiz.
dropped when the first opening plays as Asta takes Veto down. Now, I decided to cover this first because it's a very easy way to point out what I'm trying to get to. It was easy to delineate between the first opening and the third opening, covering the themes in this fight versus the themes of the entire series. So I wanted to say first that you realize the opening is the embodiment of what we are hyped about of this series.
Well, yeah,
If done
the JoJo's
right,
example
that
I'm
would
thinking of
be
is, like,
the
perfect
core
as well.
messages of the actual show. And that's
First
why
opening,
when the theme plays in the
second
final
part,
battle, it
final
hits
battle.
so hard. So, I'm going to mention 5 fight scenes right now that all do this spectacularly. Karasuno versus Shiratorizawa from Haikyuu. This final
Okay,
battle
not seen
was
it, but okay.
everything that the entire team dreamed of for the entirety of the series. So, when the theme plays about people finally reaching their dreams after all the hard work that they put into it, it feels worthy. In Bungo Stray Dogs, when Atsushi and Akutagawa are fighting against Francis Fitzgerald. At the end of the second season, the entire story until this point was the rivalry between who Atsushi was and who Akutagawa was.
Okay,
Be
cool.
it the rookie member of the good guy organization
I really
or
need
the
to get
rookie
into that anime,
badass
man.
of the Port Mafia, both had to drop their differences and work together to take down a greater evil. So the theme playing is their rivalry coming to fruition as the ultimate
Class.
tag team.
Okay, that's
In
cool.
Pokemon, you had Ash versus Sawyer at nearing the end of the Kalos League, where Ash Greninja, an ultimate culmination of training, teamwork, and trust, are up against a Mega Sceptile and take the W. When Joseph Joestar
Oh.
is fighting
Cars,
Cars,
here we
and
go.
not the theme Bloody Stream is playing, no, it's Sonochi no Sadame. It's the first opening of JoJo.
It's
because
so
this
good.
is the JoJo bloodline
When that hand
taking
hits
a
him in
big
the
fat W,
throat,
and the
it's
whole
like,
idea
oh.
of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is the bizarre adventure through generations, as different branches of this family are all interconnected connected, yet doing completely different, important-ass shiz as he defeats an opponent that no mortal had any seeming chance against.
Nope.
Yes, I'm rushing these fights because I'm trying to get one point across for this video. Do not think that I'm not going to be analyzing many of these fights on a different day, especially the JoJo's one, because Joseph versus Cars was greatness. And another one that I would like to mention for this very category is Kenichi versus Odin from History's Mightiest Disciple, Kenichi. That is an anime all about training, and it's a pretty dope shonen if I do say so myself. Kenichi, who wanted to become something more than the slacker loser he was, joined Ryozanpaku, an epic dojo place with a ton of really wacky epic masters, each training him in their own art, being it the art of weapons, or Muay Thai, Judo, Kung Fu, whatever the hell. But it was all
I was trying to think of something clever then, but I couldn't think, like a
training with these
painting
epic
style,
badass
but never
master
mind.
dudes that he thought he would never be able to attain a level of. Now, being that he's up against epic opponent dude, leader of Ragnarok, and no one ever had a team called Ragnarok and they were total pussies, okay? And this guy was able to read your moves once he understood your style, and it basically made him invincible from that point forward. I'm explaining this because I'm assuming most of you didn't watch Kenichi, and you probably should because it's epic, right, Riggs? Right. Well, that's pretty much
okay.
What's amazing is the way he actually gets around to defeating this
that's all day anime.
Annoying
is it?
opponent that can seemingly read whatever he's doing and is undefeated and all that other wise crap that every anime antagonist has. He mimics the different styles of his different masters one at a time, so his style cannot be read. He switches from Kung Fu to Judo to Muay Thai to karate, one after the other, light speed, also mimicking the personas of the masters to get more into their techniques as opposed to the blend style he usually uses. And being that his moves are unpredictable because he switches back and forth, he takes down this opponent that can read anyone. It's the ultimate metaphor for literally all the training he used until this point came in handy, and all the bonds he's forged with these epic characters / awesome masters that saved his butt in this epic final battle. The theme song, which represents getting hyped for this training anime, which is all about these bonds he's forging with these masters, because his masters are the highlight of the show, in my personal opinion. What better time for the theme of the show, the opening, to play than when he's literally embodying these masters?
Everything that he's got to that point. That's cool.
Training to defeat his ultimate opponent in an epic final battle, and one of my favorite final battles in anime. So I lumped these 6 fight scenes: Asta versus Veto, Karasuno versus Shiratorizawa, Joseph versus Cars, Akutagawa Natsushi versus Fitzgerald, Ash versus Sawyer, and Kenichi versus Odin in one category. The category of everything the series was built up to until this point, culminating in this one epic moment. So the theme of the series, the thing getting you hyped for what the show is about, starts playing, you wet your pants out of awesomeness, and we move forward in life. So that's that category. And that's the broadest category of epic moment when the opening plays in the background. But it can take form in different ways in different series. And that is what this video is all about. One of my favorite uses to this little anime gimmick is Kaneki versus Jason at the end of Tokyo Ghoul Season 1. Because Jason captured Kaneki and was torturing him, trying to get information out of him, trying to see his limits, and also because he's a total sadist nutcase. A lot of Tokyo Ghoul is just about sadist nutcases, but you didn't hear that from me. But what the opening does for the entire show, and the opening is one of the highlights for me of the entire show, is the way it's framed, where it starts with this surreal sounding,
a lot of
extremely
space,
faint music with nothing going on in the background, while Kaneki is sitting on a chair on top of what seems to be a lake, alone, surrounded by emptiness. And the imagery throughout the rest of the opening all feel just as surreal. It's not the animation that we see in the show. The scenes are all different in the opening from what they take place in the show, and it ends with Kaneki as in his human side and Kaneki with his mask, i.e. his ghoul side, fusing into one, and ending with him sitting on that chair in the middle of that empty lake, where he's alone, except occasionally Rize decides to show up. I always interpreted this opening to be Kaneki's mindset, and the entirety of Tokyo Ghoul Season 1, I haven't read the manga, and the other seasons suck, no offense to anyone, is at its strongest a psychological narrative.
First
That's
season's
really
amazing.
what it's about, more than ghouls and humans don't like each other because ghouls eat humans and humans don't want to be eaten. The fascinating dichotomy between predator and prey. But there could be good ghouls, and there could be bad humans. What? These people are actually people? Yeah, not exactly the single most fascinating storyline for me, but the psychological psychological level, so many of the characters are really interesting. And Kaneki, despite the fact that he starts off as a pussy bitch, ends up really growing into quite the badass character. Tokyo Ghoul has a thing for white hair, gives every badass character white hair, and I guess that's cool. But when Kaneki goes from black hair to white hair and goes 100% rage savage mode and takes off Jason's nuts, metaphorically of course. Aside from coming to realize how he finally snapped with all the psychological tension finally being released, it's extremely satisfying to watch him take down his captor. This Jason guy, one of the strongest of the ghouls seemingly, who's there torturing Kaneki for episode after episode, putting flesh-eating centipedes in his ear, which honestly I've never experienced, but I can use my very wonderful imagination to assume it doesn't feel that good, okay?
Yeah, I can imagine that's a great experience.
It's also satisfying, but Kaneki absolutely overpowering and destroying Jason is also a little bit terrifying. So when the Tokyo Ghoul opening that represented jumping into this world of psychological trauma for the entire series, starts playing in the background, where the psychological mess that was developing in Kaneki's mind for the entire series woke up from its dormant state and annihilated this opponent that we so badly wanted to see taken down. It moved this fight from a 9 out of 10 to an 11 out of 10. This is the surreal opening that we've been friends with the entire story. The opening that gets us hyped for every episode, but not so much as the growth of the character physically, as much as the growth of the character psychologically. Growth not necessarily taken in a positive way, because when Kaneki goes white hair badass mode and takes down Jason, while it's satisfying he's finally taking down his opponent. While we're happy he finally got out of his buzzy bitch stage,
yeah, it's like, come on, stop
the Kaneki we're familiar with will be like by the time this fight is over. It's the entirety of the opening and the psychological themes of the series crammed into this fight, where when Kaneki says to Jason, "What's 1,000 minus 7?" as he starts to eat him, hitting so hard for so many reasons. This is the phrase Jason made Kaneki repeat again and again and again while being tortured to retain some shred of sanity. At this moment, looking at this scene from so many psychological angles, be it Kaneki finally manning up, and at the same time it seems like Kaneki's losing his mind as he takes a bite out of Jason's flesh, something ghouls do that Kaneki, or at least former Kaneki, was always scared of doing, but now he was doing it, because he is not the same person he was before.
He has
and this is the psychological growth that Tokyo Ghoul excels at, and the psychological mess that the show is, and that's what this opening hypes me for. So when this opening, something attributed to the psychological disarray of Tokyo Ghoul, is playing, and as the final notes play, as the scene goes black where Kaneki takes a bite out of Jason's ass, it's both satisfying, terrifying, and exactly what we were signing up for coming until this point.
Yep.
That's the example I would like to use as far as the theme of the show being completely unraveled. You get the pun? Because the name of the opening's Unravel.
The opening is called Unravel, oh my god!
But the theme hits the emotional notes when it's played, as it contrasts with the theme in the series being unraveled. Okay, I'm not going to be doing that anymore. And another few series that I would like to talk about that did this, as opposed to the generic, look how far our characters have come, they've used everything until this point to actually become total badasses and whatever, which is the previous group I've mentioned. And the next one I would like to talk about is Saitama vs. Boros from One Punch Man. Because a lot of people, I think, consider this the poster boy of the theme playing in the background during the ultimate battle. And I don't disagree with that statement. However, Saitama vs. Boros is not in the same category as Asta vs. Veto or Joseph versus Kars. It's not all the years of training, sweat, blood, tears, and hard work have finally come together for him to overcome the greatest obstacle.
It's kind of like it's the end of the series kind of fight,
One Punch Man's theme hypes me up for the series, but the series does not hit me the same way most battle shonen do. I'm not looking for little boy Saitama to finally grow up and be able to take down his opponent. With enough training, Saitama can actually manage to win something in his life. No, that's really not what the series is trying
this is
to
the
get
final
across
fight.
at all. And I have like a massive analysis planned on Saitama's character being the ultimate overpowered character done right, being that he's one of my favorite anime characters of all time. How One Punch Man is one of my favorite anime of all time.
It's brilliant.
But Saitama vs.
Season 2 I'm really enjoying.
Was so epic because throughout the series, at the forefront of our minds, we all know Saitama's gonna win every single fight with one punch. As the series goes on, yes, at certain points we second guess ourselves and be like, oh my god,
wait a minute. What if it takes 2?
Time we were waiting for where Saitama will actually have a challenge? And then that's immediately blue balled because no, Saitama takes them out in one punch. Oh my god, the Sea King is so strong. Is he actually going to pose a threat?
Nope.
No, he's not. Saitama's an unstoppable force. Get used to it, fam. So when Boros shows up as the final opponent in Season 1 and blasts Saitama to the moon, clearly Boros is on a different playing field than every single opponent Saitama's faced, aside from the mosquito. In fact, Saitama even punched him and he didn't die in the beginning. We were like, oh my god, what is Saitama going to do?
Armor.
Finally found an opponent that can rival his power. And of course, that's one of the greatest strong suits of the show's humor, because of course Boros stood no chance against him. Even after Saitama one-punched him, Boros said, yeah, I can tell you weren't even trying. And he was like, ha, you notice, One Punch Man is about an entirely different thing. One Punch Man is about the unstoppable force that is One Punch Man. So the opening playing in the background wasn't that we were hyped that our boy became a man, it's that we're hyped that our man will never falter. It's an entirely different mindset and an entirely different reason why the theme playing in the back of that fight means so freaking much. Similarly matching the theme of the show, the finale of Anohana. Anohana is a tragic anime, and it has one of the saddest endings of all time, which pretty much makes everyone cry. Now, of course, the entire theme of the show is wrapped up by the ending, so when the opening plays, it's freaking traumatizing. That's for another reason entirely, because the opening is what we've been matching with this journey that's finally coming to a close. Or at the end of Digimon Adventure 1, the Hey Digimon song represents friendship and did throughout the entire season. It's when we were able to overcome our obstacles and take things to the next level because of friendship and stuff. And yeah, it's generic, but it's a kids show and it's also amazing. The ending of Digimon is when the kids realize they will probably never see their Digimon partners again, the people that they fought side by side with and risked their lives with countless times. As they were heading back to the human world with all their Digimons being left behind, the song of Hey Digimon, the friendship song, starts playing. And this time, unlike usual, where it's a hype song, it's sheer sadness to see the friendship physically ending, where they will remain in each other's hearts forever. Now, as far as the theme of the show being used, it's generally used in like a final battle. As I've mentioned with Anohana and Digimon, the song is meant to hit you and make you cry, so it's a grand finale. With Kaneki versus Jason, Saitama versus Boros, Joseph versus Kars, Karasuno versus Shiratorizawa, it was a big climactic finale. So everything that we've had until this point is reaching some form of climactic end. Now, it's not only used in that way, because One Piece does an entirely different take on the let's play the theme in the background, because there are a lot of fights that I would say are big fat endgame fights in One Piece. I mean, at the end of certain arcs, like Luffy versus Lucci, I could have so clearly seen the One Piece song playing in the background. You know, Yayo, Yayo. Okay, maybe not that One Piece song, but one of the themes could have been playing in the background for that fight, and I would have been like, hell yeah, this is Luffy pushing past himself to the next level, very cool. But it's not. The only time in the entire One Piece series so far, I'm sure at the end of the series they will do this again, the OG One Piece theme plays is after the 2-year time skip, where the Straw Hats get back together and they take down these pacifista, these robots that they previously struggled against a hell of a lot, and the theme hits home. The reason why it's played here as opposed to anywhere else in the series, and kudos to Toei, I'm actually complimenting Toei, so this is actually a big deal for me. I've said it several times. Unlike series like Naruto, My Hero Academia, or Black Clover, the typical shonen formula, it's about how the world changes the main character. One Piece is how the main character changes the world. It's not the culmination of a ton of training that he'll beat his next opponent and that's when the theme plays. The theme is about this adventure of all the Straw Hats coming together, each originally for their own reasonings, but banding together to adventure through the world, and the world will change because of it. So, after a 2-year time skip, where all the Straw Hats come together again, after not seeing each other for 2 years, and they're ready to storm the world, and are far stronger than they were in the past, taking down these pacifista, it's the quintessential moment for the theme of One Piece to play, because that is what it's all about. The family's back together, going to change the world.
Getting the band back together.
Yeah, that hit extremely hard. And an anime that does use the generic shonen formula also has a certain theme that plays at certain epic moments. And I'll tell you in a moment why I'm talking about this one, because it's Bleach. Ichigo just got Bankai, and he was taking down captains and lieutenants of the Soul Society left and right. And this isn't per se the opening of the series, it's the
my god, that's beautiful, nice.
Definitely subscribe to my side channel where I will start doing anime covers. The world is not ready. But this is Ichigo's We Are Number One song. It's his battle theme that plays when he's about to chew gum and kick ass. So isn't it the ultimate introduction of an anime villain when that theme starts playing and Ichigo, the new-powered Ichigo, is rushing towards Aizen, and Aizen with one finger stops his sword swing.
This is exactly what Gigguk was talking about.
Simultaneously! Please, admit that that's one of the greatest
That's
little
what Gigguk went on about.
gimmicks
Gigguk was like, that's like
the theme song is supposed
powerful.
to be this meta part of the anime
But he
universe
stopped
that
his
we have
sword
become
and
attuned
stopped
to,
the
and that is
song.
part of us. Think of all these times that the theme playing in the background elevates the hype moment so much.
Interesting how
because we
Gigguk.
realize our entire journey
Yeah,
by
that's
this
cool.
series
But
is coming to
just
some
goes to show
massive
how powerful that is as a
culmination
thing in
moment
music.
was stopped by the most overbearing of enemies. Aizen stopping this meta aspect of a series with just a finger kind of gives you a glimpse at how
Shows how
terrified
powerful
you
he
gotta
is,
be
yeah.
from this guy's physical prowess. Aizen is not one to be messed with, and this scene instills that in the audience to such an insane degree.
My
So
God,
with
he
that
doesn't
said,
stop the attack, he
various
stops the
different
whole,
facets
like,
of how
way
the
the
hype theme of the anime
theme
is
works.
used in the anime itself, there are three more I would like to mention before coming to a final thought to close. The first is Gintama's
Right.
use of this. So, Gintama is a series that I am very fond of. It's perhaps my favorite anime of all time, due to the fact that I relate to it on a spiritual level. It's half extreme harebrained, hilarious meta comedy, which also does wonders to develop the characters, and are used even on the narrative level, and the other half is this really emotional, heart-wrenchingly real, dramatic thriller type shonen anime that makes all the times that we've been becoming acclimated to the epicness of the cast during the comedy moments really feel that much heavier.
Okay.
Unlike most series where the gimmick of the theme playing in the final moment is only really used once, Gintama does it many times, and instead of using the first theme, the OG moment of the series, uses the current opening of the story in the respective arc that one of these
Right.
moments turn up. And
Oh,
I
okay.
believe, in Gintama's own credit, it's freaking brilliant. But also, it's used differently than every
I need to watch
other
this anime as well.
In
Like,
almost
there's
every
so
other
many
fight I've
like
mentioned,
stuff that
it's
everyone
the
watches
final
that I just
moments of the
haven't
battle,
watched.
where the theme starts playing, everyone wets their pants, and the bad guy is defeated. Asta versus Veto, Joseph versus Kars, Genichi versus Odin, Kaneki versus Jason, Saitama versus Boros. The theme starts playing as the hero is about to win, and the theme ends as the hero finally wins. In Gintama, every single use of the opening song in the anime is when the epic fight is about to start. Do you see the difference in thematic relevance? Yes. Aside from the fact that almost every Gintama emotional arc does not end with a purely happy ending, they're almost all bittersweet. The idea of Gintama isn't the final blow. It's the coming together of the characters to defeat their opponent, and not only that, it's almost never a one-on-one fight. It's always a combination of unlikely former adversaries that get together. The story
Right, that's cool.
of Gintama, far before the series begins, is of these four epic rebels. Now, their rebellion unfortunately failed, and they lost, splitting up, each doing their own thing. Whether it's going into business and somehow managing to amass a massive fleet of ships, hitting its filthy rich. Whether it's becoming some sort of bad guy. Whether it's keeping the rebel forces, the really almost hilariously, pitifully puny rebel forces, alive, not really to accomplish anything, but just sort of to annoy everyone. Or Gintoki, who decides to live a carefree life and become the anime embodiment of Nuxtaku. In other words, an epic sarcastic troll that sometimes says meaningful shit. Three moments where the theme started playing that I would like to bring your attention to is where Zura and Gintoki team up to fight space pirates while their squads retreat together, where they are laying their lives on the line, just the two of them, to defend their friends. Whether it's an unlikely team up with the Shinsengumi, the police force that hates Gintoki, but they'll ally up together to save Kondo, who at this point they are pretty sure has deceased. Or whether it's these four former allied Joy rebels that at different points hated each other, all team up together for this massive fight. The theme plays in these moments, because these are the moments that makes Gintama what it is. Despite the ridiculously sarcastic, at times humor, and the overly dramatic characters, it's the bonds that the different characters share that makes the emotional moments hit so hard. So, the theme of each arc playing at that pinnacle moment where a bond is reforged is beautiful. This is also used quite brilliantly in Sword Art Online, a bridge. Because in Kirito's final fight with Heathcliff, This Is War starts playing in
30 seconds to Mars, which they've used the whole time. It's like, wow, but then
they wrote quite a fantastic story, coming to quite the fantastic climax. And in my opinion, the greatest use of the opening playing in the background. A moment that almost puts its competitors to shame at how brilliantly it was done is none other than Gurren Lagann.
Oh, here we go.
And no, it's not for any of the complicated reasons. Not the One Piece reasoning, not the Tokyo Ghoul reasoning. It's the generic one. But it's the generic one done to the utmost.
Yes.
Because this is the theme that we remember while Simone and Kamina were in a cave, in an underground cavern where they didn't even know.
But now they're in
outside
space
existed.
fighting,
Kamina
throwing
pointed up and said,
galaxies
"I
at
am
people."
going to be the drill that pierces the heavens. I believe in an outside world and I will find it. They called him crazy, they called him insane, but he believed, he looked forward, and he forged through. He was the drill that reached the heavens,
Yeah.
and it turns out the cavern is not the whole world. There is also something outside the cave. There is a future, as long as you believe. It's true, tragic shiz happened in episode 7 that we will not talk about.
God,
but
do not
that
ever talk about episode
ideal
7 of
is
Gurren
pushed
Lagann.
forward. That's the driving force of the entire series, because as a drill spins, the little point eventually becomes wider and wider and wider. That's what a drill is, and they literally do pierce the heavens as the fight ends up in space against the
It's incredible.
anti-spirals. A race that says that the future is dangerous, it's far more prevalent to live in the past and present. Humanity, though, wants to push forward. It's everything and everyone that they've met in their journey, but it's everything and everyone that makes up humanity and what humanity is. It's the ideals of pushing forward into a future against an unstoppable seeming force that wants to keep the world in the past. This is a fight that goes beyond the generic. It's a fight that people don't talk about because just it's too stupid seeming. Okay, so they're
how do
throwing
you talk about it?
like shurikens. That's lame. But when the theme plays in the fight against the anti-spirals, when Lord Genome, a former adversary, brings himself down to the quantum level to help out humanity push forward, you realize it's every bit of humanity, every bit of emotion, every bit of willpower to see what is beyond the horizon. That's all coming together in this one final
Viral and everything like that.
It's the simple ideal of leaving the cave on a universal level that is the final strike against this nigh infinitely powerful opponent. And that's why I think Gurren Lagann does the theme in the background gimmick the best of any anime ever. But the reason why I feel so connected to the stupid little anime gimmick cliche thingy is because in the end of the day, most of us started watching anime and even continue watching anime because, yeah, I guess it's a bit of an escape from real life. We are becoming part of what's going on in the world, and our adventure is on a meta level of what the characters are experiencing. The opening is our personal pleasure that, unfortunately, the characters will never end up hearing. It's the meta pleasure that's incorporated into the show itself that brings us as viewers and brings our experience with the show full circle. All of our experiences with the series are culminating in this massive climactic moment. That's why I feel like it means so much when it happens. And I agree, this is a stupidly long video to be making on this stupidly minute point. But whether it's One Piece, where the adventure is the Straw Hats coming together, and us becoming almost a member of the crew on this journey, meeting up with our friends that we haven't seen in 2 years, where we are gonna forge forward, that's where this theme plays. This song that linked our lives with the lives of the characters. And I know it's silly, and I know it's preachy and stupid and somewhat cringy, but the opening playing in the background of the epic final fantastical moment, linking me with the story and with the characters in the show that I've grown to love over the past several episodes, is a microcosm of why I love anime.
Cool. That was a cool video. Weird way to end it. Not weird, but different. Where's your usual tune, Nux? That's what changes that video again. Is the absence of your original ED. Makes me feel like there's something missing. Clever. Very clever. No, that was good. Like, the opening track is always, like, amazing when it comes in. You know something's going down, and yeah. Well, I like how you mentioned the thing that Gigguk talked about in his music one, where it's like the Eisen scene. There's different ways of using it. There's different ways of using it. There's different ways of utilising it, and it works every time. So that's boss. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave comments down below, let me know what you should watch and discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys. See all you guys next down.